I think the older I get, the more I kind of think on the fact that I spent a lot of my time just waiting for my life to start, I guess. I guess after like graduation, or after I got a job, or after I moved, or after I made more money, or just after I figured everything out. Um, but I honestly think that, the more experience I get and the more I've been reflecting these past couple of weeks, I feel like it's definitely not how life works. Um, I just think that like the problem isn't really having goals per se. It's just the idea that maybe, at least for me, that uh, I just thought happiness only existed after I would hit these milestones and goals that I would set for myself. And I think that kind of idea just kind of comes from the fact where I always feel like I have to keep moving forward and pushing myself, and I can't just relax and take things at my own pace. Really, I just feel like my brain has to keep saying, "You're not allowed to rest. You have to keep doing this next checkpoint that you have to arbitrarily set." And I think in that way, I've just kept moving the finish line in my head forever. And really, it's been it's been so stressful. I feel like I also really want to thank everyone who supported my first video. It definitely feels interesting, I guess, to be so vulnerable and share that part of myself online. But even just getting the amount of views and likes I did, and even getting a comment, it feels really nice. Again, I never expected any of this to really get anywhere, but I'm definitely feeling a lot more motivation, and I guess like a drive to keep posting, and I guess sharing my thoughts. And again, in some way, I really do hope that someone can relate, or just can feel some kind of comfort in what I'm saying. And I guess with the way I've just kind of been rambling in this video, or how I plan to, I guess, I think just like everyday life just gets ignored, especially as I've been traveling a lot more, and I was really thinking about myself. Um, I just think that the small mundane moments in my life have are really the ones that I've kind of come to think back on the most fondly. Whether it's just those like random, like silly conversations I've had with friends, the really emotional ones as well, those really boring late night drives with the music playing and the windows down, like being on late night like Discord calls with friends just talk about bullshit, or crazy stories, which I definitely have a lot of. Maybe I'll talk about in the future, but those kind of late night calls, whether you're gaming or just talk about bullshit, or really just hanging out with friends, without a plan. I feel like those little moments are just things that I've really come to appreciate the most, especially when I think about, the big milestones in my life, like the once I graduate, once I get a relationship, blah, 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 which are of course really important, but, I think I was saying things too fast. I always think about that quote from The Office where Andy says like, I wish you could remember you were in the good old days before you left them. And I feel like after things, after what happened to me, where I got laid off with my job pretty recently, still kind of sucks. I think it's been a good like change in perspective for me as well, where yeah, I think I did kind of ignore those good old days, the mundane, the monotony of just being with my friends, and those moments that don't really mean much in the grand scheme of life. But again, the more I think about them, the more they mean so much to me. I think the more time I've had for self-reflection and internalizing my own thoughts, I definitely think sometimes it's okay to do nothing. It's okay to just take a day for yourself. I feel like in a lot of ways I could never really enjoy, whether it was like watching an anime, playing a game, or doing whatever else. I could really never enjoy just doing it for myself and enjoying it fully, because in the back of my head I always thought, oh, I have to do this, something else to worry about. But I feel like it becomes just a lose-lose situation where you're not really fully rested, you're not really able to enjoy whatever it is you want to enjoy. You come back really just feeling like you've wasted your time. And so I think for me a big thing has been just learning how to enjoy my time off as being time off and not worrying about anything else in that moment. And in that way, I feel like because I've kind of applied that mindset, when I just relax now, it's actually it made me more productive and more wanting to go back and approach whatever I want to work on. But yeah, if there's anything I could kind of take away from the end of this, it's just um, I think the goals that you set definitely aren't bad. Um, they're great. They give you a purpose to work towards. It's very, very important. But I also think it's about the journey and not the destination, really. Which of course is still important, but you shouldn't really be treating each day as if it's disposable. Um, because again, those little moments matter, and I think I've come to appreciate that more. I feel like if you're always waiting for that next chapter in your life, you might miss the one you're living in right now.